What's up everyone, Morey Croson here, and today we're going to be going over how to make sure the ball's coming out your index finger when you're throwing. This is something I've really been diving deep into the last few days. There's a few quarterbacks that have been reaching out to me, would really like some more insight in here, so I really want to be able to provide some valuable feedback. So if this helps, make sure to leave that in the comment section down below. I'm just going to go ahead and hop right into the video. We'll tell you about everything else at the end. So first thing that we're going to go to, and then I think the backside is better. The unfortunate thing, and this is me obviously throwing, and the unfortunate thing is whenever I'm looking at my mechanics, I just see all the different mistakes that I have within the throw. But here I'm really putting a big focus on making sure I'm getting full hip extension, something I've been talking about a lot more in the video, so you can see what that looks like, where you're really pushing off coming forward. Notice how I'm not getting my leg to turn too much inside too early. I'm getting a push and creating rotation there. Again, that's really the big focus. But with quarterback mechanics, there's just so many things that go into it. But going back to the hand, and the reason I bring that up is because just throwing, with receivers and people, I've realized the more that I put an emphasis into my lower body and the activation within the lower body, I think it takes some of the pressure off the shoulder, the elbow, the wrist, which makes it so it's a lot smoother of a throw, and the ball, I think, comes out of my hand a lot better. So that's a big thing when it comes to throwing the football, is you got to be able to use your lower body and your core to make it so you don't put as much stress on your arm, because I think, again, the more that you put a stress on the arm, the more likely that you are to lose the grip and the ball not come out of your index finger. All right, so or off your index finger. The next thing here that stood out to me is as I'm coming through, there ends up being that point where you're about to release the ball. And what happens is you start to kind of turn the hand. See how that's happening here as we're getting to the end, how my hand begins to kind of turn. So now my fingers are kind of getting underneath the ball, and it's starting to come, the initial kind of release is happening where all the laces, all my fingers come off the laces, and then what kind of propels it forward ends up being kind of that push within the index finger. So right here, the only thing that's on the ball is my index finger, and then you can see how it comes off and kind of rolls off there right at the end. And then from there, you naturally kind of go into a continual rotation through with your hand and your wrist. And so, that would be a big thing to me, is as the ball's leaving your hand, you want to be kind of flicking the hand forward and then rotating it through to make it so it's actually turning over. Okay, and also making sure that as you're actually releasing the ball, that you're allowing your hand to be in a position where there's a bit of a rotation or release within your fingers and the laces first, right? And being able to feel that, and then let the index finger, come in and throw or come off the ball. I know my left arm I'm really upset that my left arm is in the position that it is right there. But anyway, I just want to point that out because that is definitely a flaw. I don't want to make it seem like that isn't something that I didn't do correct there. Bad habit that I've had. I was just focusing so much, I think, on my hand that I lost focus on my front arm. But anyway, going back to the throw here in the position of the wrist and the hand. And so notice again here the space that I try to create within my fingers, right? I try to get a really wide position with my hands, and so you can see how low my pinky is on the ball, and then also how high my index finger is. So this makes it a lot easier for the initiation of that kind of roll to happen, and the hand to, all the fingers except for the index finger to be able to come off. And you can also notice the position of my thumb to middle finger, how they're about even, right? So that's mostly where the grip and holding the ball comes from, is between that middle finger and the thumb, right? And I don't have particularly large hands. I think they're pretty average for my height. So I don't think it's a hand thing, right? So you can't really say, oh man, my hands are too small or my hands are too big or whatever, or any of your hands are too normal, right? And just don't get yourself too caught up in that in the first place. You don't want to be finding reasons why you can't do something. Just overall, you want to find reasons why you can do something, not reasons that you can't do something. So the more often you can figure out why you can achieve something, I think that's really more of the mentality that you want to come into, not only to be successful as a quarterback, just to be more successful in life in general. And so you could go and see where my middle finger is and where my thumb is. And then from there, again, the last thing that kind of comes off of it is just that index finger, and it's pushing forward, right? See how it's right there, and it's pushing forward and then kind of rotating through as the release is happening. So you got to make sure that you have that movement happening within the shoulder, I think, because that really helps you see how it's like a natural movement through the wrist, through the hand as you're coming through. So if you lose the position, so if your hand is just kind of more straight down, right, like just more of a this type of a motion, then there might be more of a propensity to push off with the middle finger because it's a little bit longer, right? So then that could happen. But when you're rotating and you're allowing the fingers to come off the laces, and then from there kind of creating that push at the very end, that's what allows you to get that index finger to be the last finger to come off, which I think is critical when it comes to being able to generate a nice spiral. I think it's critical to be able to create the right types of velocity, right? Because when I was throwing bad as well, and when I was not throwing good, like this one, I didn't even hit the actual thing because I was trying to be off to the side the best that I could and try to like push the ball. And trying the best that I can not to have my index finger. And you could see that in order for me to not have my index finger on the ball, I really had to allow the nose of the football to be kind of off to the side, and then I also had to really kind of like flick my wrist more downwards as I was coming through. It was really hard to do to make it so I'd like not throw the ball correctly. And even though the ball comes out of my hand that bad at the very beginning, it actually does kind of turn back over and is able to get into somewhat of a spiral. I still don't even know if that's like a good example overall of a throw, because I've seen guys that throw a pretty nice spiral, but the ball's coming off of their middle finger. So, I didn't want to really use much of these other examples just because it's really not a very good indication to me of what actually happens during the throw. Even this one, you could see I think my middle finger was a little bit later, but then my index finger still looks like it's kind of on the ball, and then the ball is still like not really. I've seen spirals when it's coming off of people's middle fingers, and I've had this issue before too, where it comes off. For me, it was more of my ring finger when I was throwing deeper throws. And, I think that was just because I was trying to get too much of my arm into the throw and wasn't focusing as much on the lower body. The more that I was able to get my lower body into it, take a little bit wider of a step, a little bit longer of a step, and then really adjust my shoulder height, it made it so I was more consistently able to get the index finger to be the last part of the hand that touches the ball. But before that, I definitely struggled with the ring finger being the last one, just because I was trying to create too much force through my arm and through my wrist, in my opinion. But it could have also been the position of my grip. I have changed up my grip a little bit since then, so that could have also played a big part, because that was mostly an issue that I suffered when I was in high school and college, and didn't have as much quarterback guidance or even understanding of the body and biomechanics. All right, so yeah, guys, hope this helps you out. I hope that wasn't too long-winded. Hope you're able to stay with me here. And, I definitely say big thing is you got to practice. You have to continue to throw the ball. You should be throwing the ball, at least 50 to 100 times a day. Not necessarily 100% as hard as you can, but just taking those throws and feeling the rhythm of how the ball wants to leave your hand and getting some consistency with different angles, throwing it to the right, throwing it to the left, throwing it, a little bit higher up, and then just throwing it right on the line straight ahead. All right, as always, thanks for watching the video. As always, if you like the information, go ahead and click the thumbs up button down below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you have any questions or comments or anything like that, you can leave those down in the description. Also, check out Quarterback University, 3 days free when you first get started. All that is in the description down below. Ton of value, ton of information. We have a few different options there where you could just get unlimited access for $19. You get a breakdown once per month for $49. To me, that's the most valuable thing you could do. Or you can do the $149, which also comes with programming. It comes with a lot of different bonuses, and it's a lot more personalized. You get 2 sessions per month with that are one-on-one with me. Again, a lot more personalization with that. So check that out. We have a link in the description, as well as a quarterback ebook. A lot of free content for you to utilize, which is what we are all about. All right, thanks for watching. Talk to you soon.